Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I'll stop there.
He's gonna be commencing.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first mask-free meeting in a while. Start out by that the Council of the Town of Kindersley, having established quorum, resolves to call the February 28, 2022 regular meeting of Council to order at 5:01 p.m. I need a mover and a seconder. Chris and Warren, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Just a call for removing anything from the consent agenda to the regular. I think actually all there were several sets of minutes on Chamber of Commerce and Worley and something else, I think. More than one in each case, so I don't think there was anything there that's too exciting. So we'll move on to agenda item 2.2, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to adopt the agenda for the February 28, 2022 regular meeting of Council as presented, and that a copy of this agenda be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting. I get a mover by Randy, second by Gary. All in favor? Thank you. Anyone see anything they want to declare a conflict of interest on in the agenda? I didn't see anything in my travels through it, so. Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 4.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves, whereas the time being 5:02 p.m., that the regular meeting of Council be adjourned to a confidential in-camera meeting. Mover seconder again, please. Warren, Chris this time. All in favor? Carried. Chris, Rob, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 6.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve as presented the minutes from the February 14th, 2022 regular meeting of Council, and that these minutes be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting. Mover seconder, please. Gary? Warren? All in favor? Carried. Okay, agenda item 7.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley provide consent to the Saskatchewan Assessment Management Agency to complete a physical inspection of all properties within the municipal boundaries of the Town of Kindersley. CAO Audrey, can you elaborate, please?
Sure. So the Town of Kindersley hasn't had a physical inspection in it since 2002. Was the last time they were physically in Kindersley. They have been here when we call them for our maintenance, so they do come and look at the 15, 20 properties that we give them every year, but they haven't done a physical inspection. So every 4 years there is a reassessment, but all that does is take the same information and apply the new criteria. This time, what they're going to do is do a physical inspection. So what will happen is a letter is going to go out on Town of Kindersley letterhead, and it's actually, so it's going to be similar to the one that you have in the package, only it'll actually be signed by Mayor Perkins on town letterhead, so that the people of the Town of Kindersley understand that the town has initiated that. Also, with that letter will be a data confirmation form, and they're just asking every homeowner to fill it out with the information that they know. Any questions can be directed right to Sama, and then they'll be in here. They'll probably start, he figured, mid-April and be here till September, going over all the property. And then the new figures will be implemented in 2023.
So this could in effect change assessments for tax purposes?
It can, it can go both ways, I guess, but, so, because they haven't been physically inspected, like, there's probably, maybe more depreciation on the home than what you've been getting credit for, or, in some cases, if you've improved your home and you do the necessary permits, that kind of thing will be caught as well. And, yeah. They don't, they're not physically going to go into every home. So if the information that you give on your sheet is quite complete, then they'll probably take that information, they'll physically view your house from the outside, but because of what you've given them, they won't need to go inside. Houses maybe that they didn't get the sheet back, for instance, or, it's, if they look in a window or whatever, then they might ask and phone the homeowner to say, can we please come in and look at the home? But they're definitely not going to go into all, 1900 homes and that kind of thing. So.
How often, Audrey, does SAMA do this inspection? Is it every second year, or fourth year, or what is it?
The physical?
Yeah.
It's been 20 years since we had one.
Seriously,
2002.
Okay, so how do they make the changes to their recommendations and so on, like they did prior to last tax season?
So they do a reassessment every 4 years, and that so for the town of Kindersley is different than every other town in the province. Our numbers are changed because it's done by the market approach. So they take a look at the sales in the area and base the new formula is based on that. In the other town, Kindersley is the only town that does it that way. Cities and stuff do, but not towns. I don't know why Kindersley got picked to do that. And then, so like how Rosetown is assessed is different than how Kindersley does their assessment. Rosetowns would be more based on, just the age and the, so different permits.
So ours 4 years or every 4 years would also be based on new builds and so on in those areas of the town? Is that part of the equation?
Not so much new builds as sales.
Okay.
Ours is done mostly on sales. Okay. So then, so this one that we had, has it been 2 years ago? Last year we had it. So 2021? Yeah. Our assessment numbers were based on sales from 2019.
No, 2016 to 2020, wasn't it? 2017 to 2020? The previous...
Yeah, but they usually pick a bottom end line, so it was sales up to the end of 2019.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
To do that. And then, but the one before that was 2015.
Yeah.
So then, so what's going to happen is, so we had new numbers last year. This year was just basically pickups. We're basically going to have all new numbers again next year, and then in 2 years again we will, but then you'll just go back to the 4-year rotation. But at least all our information will be updated and to today's date type of thing. So Rosetown got done I think 2 years ago. They're just trying to get into all these communities, and just because it is very time consuming to do so.
Any other questions on that, Council?
Did you want us to speak to the cost of it and how that's absorbed? There's a zero cost.
There is a zero cost. So we contract out SEMA to do our assessment, and in that, so part of it is the pickups and stuff throughout the year, but this cost for them to come out here for basically 4 months is absorbed into that same cost. That our base fee or anything does not go up with that. So I think what they do is there's a portion of our fees every year get put aside for when that's going to happen, kind of like put into reserve for when they do that, and then they come and do that. So yeah, there is no cost to the municipality for this to occur, and I don't know exactly what at the end of the day what it'll do to the bottom line assessment, but.
I had one other question regarding that too. I think the option was given that this letter go out to the ratepayers with SAM on it, or the town of Kindersley letterhead signed by the mayor. Do we have a preference? Do we want the taxpayers to feel that we're the ones driving this, or do we want the people that are driving it, it's their idea, they can run with it?
Well, and then the mayor and I did have that discussion, and the mayor and I felt that it would be better received if the town, that they knew the town was consenting to have this done, as opposed to an agency that some people don't even know who they are.
Right.
Everybody here knows who the town of Kindersley is. Some people don't know what SAMA is, or the Saskatchewan Assessment Management. They don't understand that, so.
We don't have a choice, though.
We can on this letter.
We have a choice of whose name.
Yeah, you can have it so that it looks like, it would have Sam up here and probably Kim would sign it. They just, people might throw that away, whereas if it had, so right now we have it with the town of Kindersley and the mayor signing it. It's still, again, all questions regarding it go to the Swift Current office in SAMA office, and for any questions regarding it or anything like that. But it was we had discussed, but I mean, if you guys want it on SAMA, we haven't committed one way or the other. We were waiting for this meeting to be completed.
Yeah, we just thought that, the idea is to get people to do this and cooperate so that it all gets done in
Yeah.
a timely fashion. And I felt that something coming from the town with the mayor's signature is probably gonna get a little more attention than, as Audrey said, from SAMA, that nobody, who the hell is SAMA, and probably throw it in the garbage.
Yeah, my first thought was Sam, put there on there, but now that you say that, yeah, I guess if I seen it, Sam.
Whether you agree with it or not, because it could benefit you or not, right? But
Sure.
most people are gonna look at it and go, oh, here we go again. And there are some people that had some bitter taste in their mouth over the last tax thing, the way the different zones of the town were taxed.
This time, and I understand that, and I know we had issues with that last rollover, but this is their opportunity to talk to SAMA and have them come to their property and look at it and say, okay, this is how I feel.
Right.
Whereas before, SAMA wasn't coming and looking at 1,900 properties
No.
for a rollover.
Yeah.
That's what this purpose is. So if there's somebody out there and they fill out the form and they, put on there that, I'd like you to come to my property and
Yeah.
explain whatever. I mean, yeah.
So can people respond to this letter then and say that we want SAMA to come and look at my house because I don't feel I'm being evaluated
That's where they
properly?
could attach, so what's gonna go out is this letter and this piece of paper and a self-postage envelope.
Yeah.
This needs to go back. And on this, you could put whatever comment you want on the bottom. Now, it doesn't have that on there, but I'm sure, they will read whatever.
Yeah.
Each one of these is gonna come back. And then they can put, I would like to speak to you about, and they can also call the number that's on the letter and ask any questions
Yeah.
and talk to them at that time.
Well, that might be a good idea then, because it's no different than people that didn't like the last one, yet didn't go through the appeal process
Right.
and had the opportunity. And there's a
Now,
couple
this doesn't cost
situations,
them anything.
and there's a couple situations that we dealt with that were exactly that. Didn't like it, but didn't appeal because they just didn't think it'd be worth it, Well, it's
And
not gonna
some-
be if you don't look into it.
No, and that's right, and a lot of the, like even say your newer builds, whatever, they go by the plans. They don't physically, they'll go to the outside of it, but if there's an issue in there, or, there's questions or whatever, that's what the purpose of this, and that's why they're here for about 4 months. Like, it doesn't take them to walk in front of each house, and it doesn't take you 4 months to do that in the town of Kindersley. So, they will be here. We will be putting a lot of social media out to let residents know that there are people here from SEMA. They will be, you might find them in your backyard one day, just kind of, or looking at your house or standing in
Yeah.
front of it, maybe measuring something.
They're all,
And yes, they're totally identified and whatever,
yeah,
so,
I read that, yeah.
yeah.
No, if everybody's fine with the going on the town letterhead, fine. I just noticed there was 2 options. I was trying to figure out what would be best suited, so.
Okay, there's no further questions. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the motion to Chris? Rob? All in favor? Great, thank you. Okay. Agenda item 8.1, that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves to accept as submitted the list of accounts as paid by the Town of Kindersley in the amount of $403,724.69, and that a copy of said accounts be attached to and form a part of the minutes of this meeting. Did you have any inquiries on the accounts, Audrey?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Anybody got any inquiries?
Sometimes I might miss them.
I had a small one on there. I seen fire fuel oil is on there 2 different times. I'm assuming 2 different vehicles, but
Sorry, which one?
it's for what is it, barefoot oil changers.
Okay.
And then the other one's Guppies.
One at Guppies, so I'm assuming a car wash, truck
the
wash.
truck-
and then-
That one's probably a truck wash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then barefoot oil changers, I'd never heard of them, I just looked it up, it's in Regina.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, I don't know if they took a truck out that way or what they did. Or maybe they maybe got oil shipped from there
yeah.
as well. Like, it doesn't mean that it was a labor thing, it could have just been, and from that price, I would say they just got something shipped from
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah, I just
Um,
seen it and thought, well, geez, it seems like there's lots of places
Yeah,
locally.
yeah. There must have been something there that they, I think,
Yeah.
so for that price, it's not. Looks like, for the, yeah.
It wasn't a big amount, it's just
No.
one I've never seen on there before, right?
Yeah.
Any further questions on the accounts? I think look through, there's a new truck in there and
Your
and
library.
the library grant of $46,000, and other than that, utilities and,
Water.
That Notre Dame College was that game, that's what they ended up charging us.
yeah.
I just about, yeah, but yeah.
No other questions? Could I have a mover and seconder for the motion to pay these, please? Gary, Randy? All in favor? Okay. Bylaw. Agenda item 9.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve the first reading of bylaw 02-22, being a bylaw to regulate zoning in the town of Kindersley. If you're wondering why we ran late getting into our public session, Kim, you can tell us about the bylaws.
Sure. So our zoning bylaw, basically this bylaw is, it's used to help regulate land use and development within our municipalities, so within the town of Kindersley. We were required by the province to amend it due to our boundary alteration that we did recently. So we needed to do an amendment. And in looking at the amendment that we needed to do, we realized that our existing bylaw is dated 2014, and we've had numerous amendments since. So we wanted to consolidate all the amendments into one document, as well as try to ease the interpretation to make it a little bit easier for people that are building, are developing, so it's an easier document to go through, and basically kind of streamline it. So tonight we're just doing the first reading. We are publicly advertising that we've done the first reading, and this document is available. Anna will be putting it online that people can have a look at it, or they can stop into the office and pick up a paper copy as well. We will be having a public hearing at our March 28th meeting. So anybody that has comments about the bylaw, they're welcome to send those in ahead of time written, or they can even come to the public hearing on March 28th. And then at which time we'll do second and third reading of the document. I think that kind of sums it up.
I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Deputy Administrator Kim for a lot of work she put into this thing. It's not a 3-page document by any stretch of the imagination. I think, what is it, 89 pages or something like that, or more. So it was a manuscript, there's no doubt about it, and took a lot of time, so it's been ongoing for a little while, but I think we've got it to the short strokes here as far as making it law. Anything else, council?
That sounded really good, and Chris proofreading it was good too.
Okay, if there's no further comments or questions, could I have a mover and a seconder for the first reading? Warren and Chris. All in favor? Thank you very much. Agenda item 10.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve the consent agenda, which includes the following items for acceptance and filing. We got 4 sets of Whirly Board meetings, 2 sets of Museum Board meetings, and 2 sets of Chamber of Commerce Board meetings. Some light reading, but nothing too earth-shattering. There's no questions. Could I just have a mover and a seconder for that, Gary? Second. Warren. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, agenda item 14.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves that all business having been concluded, the February 28th, 2022 regular meeting of council be adjourned at 7:32 p.m. Mover, seconder, please. Rob. Randy. All in favor? Thank you.